So we were the third round of the X2O series, the Flandriencross from Hamme. A fast start and a pressure start. It was Van der Putte who led it off the line. You know, really important to get into this first corner in a good position, and a rider who had the poorest of starts drifted back on the left side. Our overall leader, Joris Nieuwenhuis, he went down. He was on the deck on that first corner. Last man was having to fight his way up through muddy, difficult conditions here. Ruts appearing left, right and centre, slippery conditions. The first lap, it looked like it was Van der Putte who was going to take the bonus 15 seconds, but Felipe Orts had something else on his mind and overtook the Dutch rider on the line to come through. We see Ryan Kamp going down, Michael van Turnhout almost using the Belgian rider as a ramp. There's Van Turnhout, another one of those riders in front of Nieuwenhuis, having a difficult early laps. But then we saw Thibau Nys hitting the front and applying the pressure.
Certainly did. He certainly was probably the first person in this race to really line it out. And then we saw Cameron Mason wise to it. He was a little bit further back on that opening lap, but looked up to say Nys going to the front and made the decision to work his way through that group. And then it was his turn to hit the front. As soon as he came on to the back of that group, went straight to the front and really applied some pressure to Nys, who was in second. Then we see the mistake from Verstringer. Once more, Michael van Turnhout, the man being held up by this point, looks thoroughly annoyed with the situation.
Yeah, and again, Nieuwenhuis again got stalled just as he was coming through that group, stalled again. But Cameron Mason got the gap. Nys responded and managed to get back to Mason, but we saw a number of mistakes from Nys, just losing the rear wheel countless occasions, and it was that pressure from Mason looking so strong, so good in the technical sections. Nieuwenhuis coming through. This was a critical change, so we saw Nys did speak to his pit crew. He did make a change to his bike, whether it was a pressure or even a tread change. It worked for the Belgian rider. The tables turned at that point. Nys looking so much stronger in the second part of the race.
That chasing group behind, mistakes began to creep in as riders got more and more tired. There was one from Niels van der Putte. That chasing group yo-yoed 14 to 16 seconds for basically the entirety of those last 20 minutes of racing. It was the front two that dominated this race. Like you say, as soon as Thibau Nys got onto that bike with potentially the lower pressures or different treads, I'm sure we'll find out in the interview afterwards, looked a different rider, began to apply some pressure and put actually Cameron Mason under some pressure. There we had it, that final lap bike change. I did wonder whether one of them would gamble and not take the bike change, but Cameron Mason did use it to his advantage to come back to take the lead of this race with just half a lap to go.
And these riders absolutely throwing punches, and it was this section just before when Nys decided to take the front, came up on the inside on a sweeping bend in front of Cameron Mason. Then he started to attack. It didn't, on the first attack, didn't quite get clear. It took this second attack to really get the gap, held it together on these slippery turns. Again, we know the sprint. Thibau Nys came out the corner, applied the pressure. Cameron Mason so close to his first big televised cross win, but unfortunately had to settle for second. Thibau Nys take his second win in the X2O series. Joris Nieuwenhuis coming through for up in the overall in the X2O Trophy.
Yeah, I think Nys moves up into third overall now.
And Nys starting the day was fourth position, 49 seconds down behind Nieuwenhuis. And he would have moved up through effectively. And these riders now, like you say, we've got really key section of World Cups coming week after week.
En dan mogen ze een stapje voorwaarts zetten met de eend, jongens. Gelieve de eend even mee te nemen voor de mensen van X2O. Het eendje meenemen, dank u wel. Ziezo, ons fantastische podium met de winnaar Thibau Nys, 2 Cameron Mason, 3 Joris Nieuwenhuis.
Of the 8th round X2O Trophy. There's our podium. Thibau Nys, Cameron Mason.
Important is the second win of the season for you, Thibau?
Yeah, really important. I mean, I started off super good in my first race in the Koppenberg, and since then, yesterday was not really a good feeling. Also last week I was good, but not in with the same legs as on Koppenberg. And now to win today is nice. It's good for the confidence.
Why did you put the hammer down in last lap?
I wasn't too sure about my sprint because of the last corner. It was quite slippery, and to turn off in second place, or I didn't want to take any risks. It was a bit dangerous.
Thanks and congrats.